Hello, can you hear me?
Yep. Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Are you the only one presenting today?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I think I have the screen shared. Can you see a blue screen that says virtual college exploration?
Yep.
Okay, let me get on the right slide here. All right. So this is, um, okay. So we'll start the broadcast at the beginning at 3:30, or I'm not sure what time zone you're in, but on the half hour.
Okay.
So I'll begin with an opening slide and some housekeeping announcements. At that time, I'll stop sharing the screen, turn off the video, and then turn it over to you. The session ends at exactly 45 minutes after it begins.
Yep.
And then I'll turn the video back on and share a final slide, and then the whole presentation will be recorded. So it's available for students if they didn't make it to the session on demand, or they can watch it on demand later.
Awesome.
You're the only one speaking, so you don't really have to worry about muting yourself. And StriveScan will send you the list of all the students with any questions that they have within a week. The students will ask their questions through the Q&A button. So if you can see the Q&A button now, I'm not sure if you have that on your screen.
Yep, I have it.
Okay, so then that opens that window. We recommend that you do not click the answer live button, since that shares the student's name and questions with the audience. So just keeping it on the Q&A, then only you can see it.
Okay.
And then you would repeat the question out loud, and so everyone can hear it, and then answer it yourself verbally.
Yep.
Then you can click the dismiss button to hide the question. You can also type your responses by typing the type answer button. We also recommend that you check the send privately button. You may not get to every question. That's okay. You'll have a transcript of all the questions when they follow up with you about the student responses later. And if you get a lot of questions, you might want to acknowledge that and just say you'll get to the questions later or privately, separately. Okay. And now you can share your screen and then test it out. So you can override the current share.
Oh, do you want me to go ahead and do that?
Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Okay. So everything seems to be going okay. At the end of the session, then we'll just end the webinar. And at that time, it will disconnect us. So I just want to say thank you in advance. And if you have any other questions or anything right now?
As far as the recording goes, I don't know how many people signed up or if they signed up, but if it goes less than the 45 minutes, does the recording still go on for the full 45?
I think at the time when I hit the end button, then it'll stop.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see if it ends up going less than the full 45. Would it just end earlier, or would you recommend that I flex to fill that full time?
If you have a lot of questions, you might use that time then, but you don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably better to be flexible because you don't know if you'll have a lot of questions, or there might not be any, and then it's still recorded though. So that's the important part, that they could watch it later.
Yes, that is good distinction. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Sure. So. All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Virtual College Exploration webinar for all Illinois college students, sponsored by the Illinois Association for College Admission Counseling and StriveScan. Thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. The camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at IACAC.org. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at that same website, IACAC.org. And now I'd like to turn it over to our presenter.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining today. My name's Katie. I work in the Office of Admissions and Outreach here at DigiPen Institute of Technology. We're located in Redmond, Washington. If you've heard of us, you may know of us as a game design school. I'll talk a little bit about all of our degree programs and kind of what to expect when applying to our degrees. But if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to drop them in the chat box at any time, and I will be referencing those as they come up if there are any questions. If you would like to get in contact with us after the event, I will leave contact information at the end as well as my email address. So what is DigiPen, if you have never heard of us before? We are a private four-year university. We were founded in 1988 by Mr. Claude Comer, who was also the co-founder of Nintendo Software Technology, also known as Nintendo of America. So we have a long-standing relationship with Nintendo as well as many other game companies in the Seattle and Redmond area, which is in Washington State, where we are located. Our areas of expertise include computer science, digital art and animation, digital game design and development, and then of course music and sound design. Pretty much everything that would be required in order to create a full-scale video game or animation. So there are many different roles required to participate in a game team or an animation team. And so we have different programs that train students in those various areas. Where we are located, there's a handy dandy little map there for you. You can see we are, this is on the inside of Puget Sound, just across Lake Washington from downtown Seattle. There's a little town called Redmond. It's actually not so little anymore. It is the headquarters of Microsoft as well. Interestingly enough, Microsoft also happens to be our top employer. About half of our graduates end up working for Microsoft in some way during their career. And Redmond is a really great location in the Pacific Northwest. There's a lot of really fun things to do in the area, and it is also a really huge hub for game design and development. We do have two international campuses as well, one in Bilbao, Spain, and then one in Singapore. So there are graduates from those campuses also working in the gaming industry that you may make connections with as an alumni. Those campuses do have their own separate admissions offices, so we do not currently offer any study abroad options, but they are also options if you were interested in connecting with them. Back to the Redmond area, since that is the campus that I represent. Like I said earlier, we really have a really huge tech hub here in the Redmond area. I was born and raised in Washington State. And it's been really cool to watch all of these technology companies establish here and grow and contribute to the success of living in this area and of jobs available in this area. On your screen, you'll see a lot of very notable brands that you likely interact with on a daily basis in some way. I mentioned Microsoft as our top employer. Of course, you also have Amazon and Google, the two other tech giants, in our backyard. The Facebook campus, they have an Oculus campus that actually shares a parking lot with our campus in Redmond, Washington. So you can see them out of my office window. So these are all options for students, even outside the gaming industry. But of course, we also have a number of game development companies within the gaming industry that if you are a gamer at all or have played any games, even board games, you have likely interfaced with some of these companies. Of course, there's Bungie and 343 Studios located in downtown Bellevue. There is Turn 10 Studios, Sucker Punch, Valve also in Bellevue. On the board game side, we have Wizards of the Coast. It's created some of the board games and card games that you may have played or be interested in, even if you're not necessarily a gamer. So there's a lot of opportunities to work in the gaming and game development industry within our area. Some of the titles that you may have played created by those companies that I just referenced. Even if you hadn't necessarily heard of the studio names before, you've probably heard of these titles. Destiny, Halo, Dota, Dungeons and Dragons, Pokemon, all of these that we have had alumni go on to work at. And we train you to be excellent employees and candidates to be employed by companies such as this. This is a whole new, another list of companies that our students have gone on to work for. So if you squint, you may be able to find the company that created your favorite game or your dream company to work for. There's a whole list, and I'd be happy to share this with you afterwards if you want to reach out as well to see if your dream company is on the list. A little bit of background about us. We were the first university in the world to offer a bachelor's degree in video game programming specifically. So we are pioneers in the gaming industry and in our contributions to the video game industry. We offer 10 degree programs. 8 of them are undergraduate degrees, and then 2 of them are master's or graduate degree programs. I'll talk more in detail about what each of those programs has to offer here in a little bit. Our average class size is about 20 students, and that actually is on the larger end of our classes. In your freshman level classes, they can be 20 to 30 students, and then as you get into your upper level junior, senior classes, they get more specialized, and you may actually find yourself in a class that is only 5 to 10 students. There's a lot of opportunity for one-on-one instruction and really getting to know professors as people. Sometimes you'll TA for them, or they'll write you letters of recommendation. There's a lot of opportunity for very individualized learning. Our graduates are credited on more than 1,500 commercial video games. There are over 450 of those gaming and technology companies just in a 20-mile radius of our campus here in Redmond. And our graduates have gone on to work at not only those locally, but also companies around the world contributing to animation, game design, and then technology and software development. Notably in our animation department, our student films will be entered into various animation film festivals and animation contests. And to date, they have won over 255 awards and been selected at numerous festivals along the way. So we have all of those films available, or a number of those available for viewing on our YouTube channel, which we'd be happy to share with you as well. There's a lot of really well done student animations available there. For the last, actually it's 11 years as of this year in a row, we have been ranked as a top 5 video game design school by the Princeton Review. And as you're doing your research and looking for colleges to attend, if you're interested in studying gaming, then you can filter by game design school, but there are actually a lot of other filters that you can use to search for a college that fits your needs. So I do suggest that you check out the Princeton Review's ranking to compare us and other colleges based on what is important to you. And if going to a top game design school is something that is important to you, then know that we have been ranked in the top 5 for 11 years in a row now. And then there are a couple of other awards categories listed on this slide as well. But our student projects is a really huge part of our curriculum and what we have to offer. And so there are a number of competitions, festivals, and other awards that our students have been recognized for, even outside the animation and film industries. Notably, Georgetown University Center on Education and the Workforce recently did a study on long-term return on investment. And in Washington State, we were ranked #1 for value as far as return on investment within 30 to 40 years of graduation, meaning that the money that you put into your education at DigiPen returned your investment, and students were reliably finding well-paying jobs and able to pay back their loans and do well for themselves. And then this also ranked us in the top 1% of colleges and universities in the United States. So this shows that a DigiPen education is of good value for students that do really want to work in the gaming and technology industries and the animation industry as well. So let's talk a little bit about the academic structure here at DigiPen. We combine academic fundamentals with project-based learning. So you'll hear me say project-based learning a lot. It is a key component of what we have to offer here at DigiPen. But don't make the mistake of thinking that all of your education is going to be purely project-based, because you do need to have the opportunity to take classes in a very traditional sense to be able to learn information from people who have been there before and who are experts in their fields. So we do have lecture style classes as well that combine knowledge and theory with individual study, with homework assignments, with where a professor is in the front of the room sharing the information that they have learned with you, and you're taking notes and quizzes and papers and all of that fun stuff that you would normally think of when you think of attending a college class. But the other half of our curriculum, which we do in a pretty unique fashion, is project-based learning. There's that buzzword again. But project classes are a really huge part of what we have to offer and what makes our students successful once they enter the industry. Our projects classes put students on interdisciplinary game teams. So students from all of our degree programs, our art program, our game design program, our music programs, our computer science programs, they all come together and actually enrolled in one class. It's called PRJ, Projects Class. And they're put on interdisciplinary game teams where they work together to self-select and form game teams where they create full-scale games and animations. And as a student, you would have the opportunity to work on 2 to 4 game projects during your time with us. Some students choose to do more than that, but 2 to 4 is kind of the expected number. And you'll create games that you can use in your portfolio. You'll work through the teamwork process. You'll learn how to scope your ideas into a format that is realistic for whatever milestones or whatever time frame has been set out for you. Teams can range anywhere from 3 students to 23 students. It is dependent on you, what you want to get out of your project, what type of team you want to work on, what you have to bring to the table, and if your idea takes off and you're able to bring it to fruition. Those are all things that you're graded on. And we provide support to you along the way as well, but it really is a process that is tailored to what you want to get out of it as a student. So I mentioned all of the degree programs that come together to work on these game design projects or animation projects. These are the various degree programs that we offer here at DigiPen, and I'm going to take a minute to talk about each program that we offer. These are the 4 main categories that we offer. We have our computer science programs, which are the ones you'll see listed under the computer science area, are going to be an opportunity for students who want to learn in a project-based environment and are interested in learning in relation to the gaming industry, but don't necessarily have their hearts set on working in game development. Now you can choose to do that, but the projects and the courses are going to be taught from a framework of computer science, of software development, of working with artificial intelligence, and database-based projects. So it is less gaming reliant than our other game design and development degrees, although they can definitely be used in the gaming industry if you decide that that's what you want to do after graduation. Under our game design and development degrees, we have kind of 3 different options, ranked from the least amount of programming to the most amount of programming. So at the top, you'll see our Bachelor of Arts in Game Design. This is a psychology-based approach to game design with an emphasis on humanities. So think about things like storytelling, world building, influencing your player, understanding what makes people make the decisions that they do, and how can I get them to make the decision that I need them to make in order to move forward with the game. If you have games that have an evil track and a good track, how do the way that the non-player characters interact with your player change based on the decisions that your player has made? And how does that make your player feel? What emotions do I want the player to have? Where do I want them to go? What decisions do I want them to make? And how do I get them to do that? Those are things that our Bachelor of Art in Game Design students are studying. They'll take a handful of programming classes, but they do not become expert programmers. They learn just enough to be able to speak the language of programmers when they're trying to communicate ideas for a game. The Bachelor of Science in Computer Science in Game Design is a hybrid program, or the closest that we offer to a hybrid program. It teaches level design, UX and UI design, and you kind of have one foot in each area of computer science and of game design. So it is the most versatile degree that we offer as far as bridging the gap between those 2 areas of study. And then you have our Bachelor of Science in Computer Science in Real-Time Interactive Simulation. We call this the RTIS program because real-time interactive simulation is a lot to say. But in this program, you learn how to create the game engines that games are built in, and you create tools that are used by other game developers to create the games. So it is a very intense programming degree, and you are very focused on learning to be an expert computer scientist in this program. We do have a digital art and animation degree as well. In this program, you are the content creator for all of the visual aspects that you see on screen when you're playing a video game or watching an animated film. In this, we start with a traditional art foundation where we teach you drawing, sketching, painting, sculpting. Year 1 is pretty much extensively traditional art. And then we build on top of that foundation to teach you 2D animation, 3D animation, and 3D modeling. So you have an opportunity to work in character design, environment design. You can work in rigging and 3D modeling. You can work with background assets. It really is dependent on what you want to get out of that degree, and the faculty in that program will work with you to help you select a specialization as well. And then we have our music and audio degrees. Similar to our game design degrees, how they were separated out, we have 2 music programs that are separated out a little bit based on what you want to get out of it. So our Bachelor of Arts in Music and Sound Design is a performance degree. So there's a portfolio requirement that I'll talk about in a minute, that you do have to be proficient in an instrument in order to join this degree program. And you take 4 years of private lessons with an instrument of your choice. You play in jazz band, you can join the chorus, but it is definitely an instrument heavy degree where you are learning sound design and from a performance standpoint. The Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and Digital Audio, on the other hand, is an audio engineering degree. It is a computer science focused audio engineering degree. You do not have to have a music background to join this degree program. It does help to have an interest in audio and in the physics of audio programming, but there is no musical requirement for this degree program. Similar to how our real-time interactive simulation students are creating game engines, Our digital audio students are creating audio engines to make sure that all of your sound effects, your musical score are aligning with the gameplay in a way that is seamless for the player to experience. So it's definitely a more unique degree program, but is becoming, audio programmers are becoming in more and more high demand. So we definitely encourage students who are interested in computer science, but also have a musical inclination to check out this program. I know that was a lot, so I'm going to show you a video really quick to hear someone talk other than me and describe some of the differences between our game design programs.
My name is Jeremy Holcomb. I'm the program director for the Bachelor of Arts in Game Design program, and so I oversee all of the courses and structures for the Bachelor of Arts in Game Design students. And I work closely with Benjamin Ellinger, who is the program director for the Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and Game Design, and look at different types of design classes, different types of designers, and on some level answering the ridiculous question, what do you want to be when you grow up? So the Bachelor of Arts in Game Design is fundamentally based on people. It's fundamentally based on creating powerful experiences for other people through the medium of games. And it's the design part that's important in that sentence. We base everything on the psychology and the economics and the behavioral theory and understanding why people do what they do. If you look at the recommended course sequence, you'll see you're taking an enormous amount of design in your first 2 years, sort of introductions to lots of different types of design so that you can learn the things that you want to specialize in. And then in your last 2 years, you'll take those two specializations all the way to graduation. The Bachelors of Science in Computer Science and Game Design is much more focused on the technology, right? They're programmers, it's a full computer science degree. Their first year is based entirely on the same CS core as all of our computer science degrees. And then they get design courses beyond that. But again, those are very tech-focused design courses. The Bachelors of Science in Computer Science and Game Design students know how to do everything. And the BAGDs know why to do everything. And that's the difference.
So that was our program director for the Bachelor of Arts in Game Design program. He loves meeting with students, and we actually feature him on some of our events talking about the game design degrees. So if you're interested in talking with him further about the differences between the programs, what to expect, how to choose a program that fits, we would love to connect you with him or set you up for one of the events that he is present at. Preparing to apply for these programs. So you may have an inkling at this point which way you're leaning and want to know, well, how can I prepare? What do I need to think about? What are we looking for? For our Bachelor of Science program, so any of our programs that has BS in front of it, there's kind of a common background that we're looking for. And that's going to be a background in math and science, specifically calculus, pre-calculus, and then physics-based science, if you have the opportunity to take those. Any engineering experience or other mathematics experience is helpful as well, but pre-calculus, calculus, and physics are kind of the three main aspects that we would look for if you have the opportunity to take them. For most of our degree programs, we do have a requirement of completion of pre-calculus with a B- or better. The only exception to this is going to be our computer science and game design degree. That one is strongly recommended still, but if you don't have the opportunity to take pre-calculus before coming to DigiPen, we still want to have an option for you. So that is an option. We would still look at your math background and your science background, but pre-calculus is not a hard and fast requirement for that degree. For our game design programs, this is specifically referring to our Bachelor of Arts in Game Design. We want you to develop a strong foundation in writing, art, music, history, and psychology. We want to see that you have a varied interest in the different offerings of the world and studying how people think, cultures different than yours, etc. Math through pre-calculus is still recommended, but again, not required. There is a portfolio requirement for our Bachelor of Arts in Game Design program where we'll ask you to talk about things that you have designed. It does not have to be a game at all. It can be if you have had the opportunity to play around with Unity or Unreal or another game engine. But it can be as simple as a chocolate chip cookie recipe. It does not, anything that you have created and sought feedback on and iterated on. It can be a team project. It can be a pattern, a cosplay. It can be really anything that you have created. Oftentimes we get asked if you can submit works of art for their portfolio. It's not recommended, but if you can describe your design process, then it is accepted. But do consider other projects that you may have worked on when evaluating that. For our Bachelor of Fine Arts program, this is going to be our digital art and animation degree. We require a art portfolio, and there are some extensive requirements for this that are listed on our website. If you follow those instructions, then you should be good to go. We do expect a foundation in traditional art for entering this program. You don't need any sort of background in animation or digital art whatsoever, but we do want to see that you have started building a foundation of traditional art. So drawing, sketching, painting, sculpting, drawing from observation specifically, as in a realistic fashion, is what we're looking for in your portfolio. And then for our music and sound design degree, again, it does require a musical background for our Bachelor of Art in Music and Sound Design. You do need to demonstrate proficiency in an instrument or in your vocal. You can choose to select vocals as your instrument and take lessons in that for all 4 years, or select an instrument of choice. Either works, but you should be familiar with the basics of music concepts like the ones listed on the screen, and you should be able to read sheet music as well. Some updates as far as what we have done in the light of the pandemic. We have removed our SAT and ACT requirement for fall 2021 applicants. So if that is you, definitely don't worry about sitting for the SAT or ACT. We want you to put your safety first and recognize that they have not been able to be offered in a safe environment and in every area. If you have them, we will accept them, but don't go out of your way to go take those exams. If you have a struggle getting copies of your official transcripts from your former high school or former institution, we will accept unofficial copies for your application, but do everything you can to get an official copy. And then we do have some new and expanded scholarships as far to offer aid for students that may be experiencing financial hardship due to the pandemic, both for current and continuing students as well as incoming students. So definitely ask, it doesn't hurt to ask what options are available to you. We'll connect you with resources. As far as our deadlines go, we operate on a rolling admissions basis. So we are continually accepting applications and will continue to evaluate on a rolling basis until the class is full or until the deadline hits. Once your application is finalized, you can expect a response within about 2 to 4 weeks of all of your materials being received by our office. The first acceptances should be going out towards the beginning of November, and our application is open for fall 2021 currently. Our priority deadline is February 1st. This applications received by this date will get the greatest access to scholarship funds as well as guaranteed housing. So if you're a student that you know that you are going to need housing, or you want to put your best foot forward as far as applying for scholarships, if you can get your application in by February 1st, that will be the most ideal for your situation. Our general deadline is April 1st. This applications received by this date guarantee your spot in the 2021 class upon your acceptance. And then kind of the last date that we would want you to apply would be July 1st, and that is as space remains available. So sooner is better, more scholarship funds, more opportunity for housing, but we will continue to accept applications as space remains available leading up to the next school year. So now for something fun. This is always a fun time that it's usually an activity based where I will have audience members submit what they think the top 10 game franchises of all time are. But these are the top 10 game franchises of all time. This is kind of an interesting exercise in what the purpose of the game development industry and how to think about game design. Because you are really thinking about creating games that are for other people. It's not just about creating a game that you would want to play or a game structure that you're interested in. It's about creating a game that is enjoyable for other people. So what we're looking for in game designers is an interest in studying the way that other people think and an interest in the process of creating a game, an immersive experience for a player. So you'll see there's a lot of different opportunities or different types of games listed on these top 10 game franchises of all time. Of course, we have Mario, a classic. I was just playing it yesterday. Kind of accessible to everybody, very cartoony, it's just a classic. It's been around for a very long time and has reached audience members of all ages across many generations. Similar, you have Pokemon, Tetris. Those are also kind of fall. Minecraft have reached audiences across many different age levels and interests. On the other hand, you have things like Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, Need for Speed, that are definitely very different in their audience, in their intended audiences, but have still reached a huge audience, which is how they made it on this top 10 list. They're also, you have to think about the international implications, because these are all games that have done very well overseas, even if you may not think of them as top 10 games here in the United States. And then, of course, surprisingly, everyone is always interested or curious about why Wii Sports is on this list. And that is for a couple of reasons. One is that a copy of Wii Sports was sold with every Wii console that was sold. So that kind of boosted their numbers a little bit. But the other reason that Wii Sports is accessible to an entirely different age group that you may not think of as being gamers, and that is retirement homes. Because the control schemes and the gameplay is so accessible, it actually was a very popular accessory for retirement homes, and that helped boost and helped secure its spot on the top 10 game franchises. That's just a little fun fact. Each of these franchises has sold over 100 million copies. And it is definitely good to think about if you're interested in joining the game development industry or in being a game designer, is how do you design experiences for people who are in a different age bracket, a different country, or just a different interest level, looking for a different type of gameplay? Because that's what ultimately determines the success of a game. So a little bit more fun stuff. Talk about student life and resources available to our students. We have a number of opportunities, clubs, Senate, Halloween pageants, LAN parties. You'll notice a common theme is really going to be the gaming culture. When PAX is in session, the Penny Arcade Expo in Seattle, we do have booths there where we will showcase student projects and talk to students who may be interested in coming here. And that kind of encompasses the different types of events that are offered on campus as well. There are students that all have that in common, that they're interested in the gaming industry. Whether or not they go on to work in the gaming industry, they do have that common thread of enjoying the types of media and culture that are common among the gaming industry. We do have housing options available. I know in a pandemic, it's hard to think about moving across the country or to go to a housing option in Redmond, but we do have this available for students that are interested in that. About 200 first-year students live in DigiPen housing each year, and there are apartment style, so two-bed, two-bath units that are shared amongst 4 students. There's high-speed internet included. That's very important to our students. So we wanted to make sure that that's highlighted. Living spaces are all furnished. So if you're moving across the country, then we do provide washer, dryer, dishwasher, couch, beds, dining table, those basic things. And then there are all gender housing options as well. So there's single gender and all gender housing options available depending on a student's preference and gender identity. We do offer K-12 programs for students that are interested in starting to explore their areas of interest before they reach the college level. These are currently being offered online. So if you're interested in checking any of those out, you can visit the K-12 programs website at academy.digipen.edu. There's summer workshops, a pre-college program, there's a homeschool academy, and then they are offered in the same types of areas that our degree programs are offered. So whether that is game design, art, music, engineering, computer science, there are options available in all those fields. We do have some events coming up, so this is not your last opportunity to connect with us. Far from it. We have many hosted events that myself and my team will offer throughout the year. These are all being offered online currently, so they are accessible from anywhere in the country. Upcoming, we have actually this weekend on Saturday. So if you're watching this recording and you maybe missed out on the live session but have some questions that you are still hoping to ask, some upcoming options are this Saturday. We have a Navigating Fall 2021 admissions event where we'll have representatives from all the various departments present to answer any and all of your questions, as well as a student panel. We do have next Wednesday a Anatomy of a Game team online information session where we'll have a student game team on camera to talk about what that process has been like for them, how the team was selected, what has gone well and what hasn't, and then just talk about the project's process here at DigiPen and how that works. And then we have a portfolio review in November where we'll talk about exactly what we are expecting in the 3 different programs that do require portfolio submissions. And then on the other hand, we have our degree program deep dive series. So these are online replacements for our most formal in-person events that really cover a little bit about everything that we have to offer. So on Saturday, we offer a admissions overview and financial aid overview. On Sunday, we talk about graduate degree programs. Monday, we talk about Bachelor of Fine Arts in Digital Art and Animation, what to expect as an artist, and what options we have. Tuesdays, we talk about our music degrees. Wednesdays, we talk about our game design programs, and we compare and contrast our game design, our arts-based game design and our computer science-based game design programs. Thursday, we talk about our computer science programs. Then we have program directors from our many different computer science degrees available to answer your questions. And then on Friday, we have a project-based learning session where we will have instructors for the game teams and projects teams come on camera to talk about why they're structured the way that they are, what students can expect, and etc. So that's happened. We have 3 of those currently scheduled for the rest of the academic year, although I imagine we will add more in the spring. So come back then if the springtime is of more interest to you as you're exploring your college options. Our next one starts on Halloween. So I'm going to see if I can get our panelists to wear some sort of costume or face paint for that. We'll see how that works out. But it starts on Halloween and extends into the week following. Another option we have is a peer-to-peer session. If you're interested in chatting more one-on-one, we can set up an appointment for you to have a Zoom call with a current student in your degree program or from your background or who matches your area of interest or year, or if you're a non-traditional student wanting to meet with another non-traditional student who is maybe getting their second bachelor's or has military experience, we can arrange for that as well. So that's a very customizable opportunity. So just reach out to our office to set something up. We also offer one-on-one admissions meetings. If the idea of attending an event is not as appealing to you and you just want to ask your questions, We can certainly, either myself or one of my colleagues can sit down one-on-one with you over Zoom from anywhere in the world, and do a one-on-one meeting with you to talk about your specific situation and any questions that you might have about the process. We want to be here to walk you through it. And then finally, that's really all the information that I have for you at this time. But this is our contact information. So again, my name is Katie Clark. I work in the Office of Outreach and Admissions. It's our job to connect with students who are interested in attending our school or learning more about what it would be like to attend our school, and help you figure out if we're a good fit for you. We understand that we are not a good fit for every student out there, and so it really is my job and my pleasure to sit down with every student and make sure that you're making the best decision for you and that you understand the degree program that you're applying to and how you align with the outcomes of that degree program. So our phone number is 425-629-5001, and then our email is just outreach@digipen.edu. Our office hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. That is Pacific time, so keep that in mind as you are contacting us from different time zones. And of course, you can always check out our website as well. We do have a chat widget that is live on our website during business hours, where you can reach someone from my team in real time to chat with us one-on-one via text chat. So if you're interested in that, if you would prefer that over a phone call or over an email or a video session, we're available that way too. And that's all I have for you folks. I don't see any questions in the chat. So please don't be a stranger. Reach out and contact us. Schedule a one-on-one appointment. Come to an event. We would love to connect with you more. Thank you for watching this video.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. When you close this window, there will be a quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. Also, this was just one of many sessions being hosted, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions at IACAC.org. In about a week, you'll be able to find the session's recording as well as all the other session recordings at IACAC.org. Thank you.